Hey, so I'm back and I'm going to do the second part of this tutorial, and it's going to be I'm going to be talking about rendering out what we have in the clip view into the arrangement view. Very, very simple again, nothing too complex there. But what I want to do is the beats that we have right now that we set up in the clip view, I'm going to make a more stable melody, and I'm going to change that melody a little bit, add to it, make it sound a little bit better. And this is just to progress to the next stage where I'll be showing you rendering it out into an audio track and doing some envelope theories with overdrive and auto filters and layering. We're going to essentially take this one lead instrument that I have, making various samples from it that are all going to sound fairly different. We're going to do some envelopes and yeah, so I'll show you what I have right now, and I'll tell you what I did. It's not too hard. The lead that I had before, just play it now. So there's a drum melody that I had before. I took out, I made a very basic loop out of it, and you do that. You do that by coming up to the top here. You hit the record button, and then you can click play on your drums and your arp. So I did that, and essentially it renders out your tracks for you here. And I just made a loop out of those notes. I haven't changed anything. Actually, I made one of the notes a little bit longer, but you'll see that in a second. And I just made a loop, and this is what it sounds like. Oops, sorry. So I changed I guess we'd say third hit to be a little bit longer. You can feel it right away. It gives the song a little bit more of a flow. I think it sounds pretty good. Over here too, I did a little bit of a variation of the hits. Sorry, is it this one? I made them a little bit shorter. I like that. It gave a little bit of a glitchy sound to it. I'll show you what it. Yeah, there we go. So just for the sake of making it with the drums. I guess I didn't, but see that I kind of like that little glitchy sound. It's not as long. Even the top here, I can probably, just by the way, I'm holding Alt here. This lets you, it doesn't scale on the grid. You can just, extend it all the way. But little trick here to get all the notes to be the same, because you see they're not all the same right here. Just extend them back, Alt all the way back, and now the notes will be the same length. So yeah, I like that. It sounds a little bit different than that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to render that out to a sample a little bit later on. But I'm just keeping it on the side for now. Back up, you always come across things that sound good, and it's always good to back them up a little bit. Even duplicating this arp, or sorry, this is the name of the instrument, but duplicating this instrument and changing the new instrument instead of editing the original. I do that a lot. A lot of the times you sit there working on the same instrument and trying to get the perfect sound, and then you end up actually just fucking it up. So I back up a lot, and I suggest you do the same, either if it's a new instrument or just moving the clip over. So I like what I have here, and what I want to do is I want to add to it a little bit, because this is a very introductory sort of melody, and I think it would sound pretty good with some lows in it. I think putting a note somewhere else to give it a little bit more flow would benefit it quite a bit. So it's going to be pure hit or miss right now. I'm just going to enter in a note, enter in a couple notes, maybe get rid of some, see what I can get, and yeah. So yeah, I like that. So that sounds pretty good, just a low right there. Brings it down. It's sort of like the song or the melody is slowly going up, and then that one note is bringing it back down. I don't know any music theory. This is all by ear. So I think this note on the 1.4 would sound pretty good scaled out across the whole track. I think once you start adding too many random variations inside, it becomes a little too busy. And I'm starting to notice now, I'm sure this is a common rule, but you can get a lot out of one instrument just by working on the envelopes, working on the reverb, and tweaking the auto filter a little bit, and you know, in your operator down here you have quite a bit of settings that change the whole sound, like the spread and even the tone, a slight LFO. I think taking one instrument and changing that one instrument a little bit here and there is a better way to go in some circumstances than making a new instrument and trying to make it fit with the other instruments. I've been doing this a lot recently, is just playing with one operator mainly, and making variations of it. And I find that I'm getting better sound quality now, and it's starting to push me a little bit further. So, so I'm going to duplicate this across. And see how it sounds. And all I'm doing here is I'm essentially selecting it from the beginning up until where it'll loop, so the 1-bar loop, and just pressing Control D, and duplicates it across, and you can see, just make sure that it's saying 1.4, 2.4, and etc., etc. So. So not bad. You can probably follow the note pattern where it pitches up here, you know, maybe bring this up here, note, maybe bring this up here too. I have no idea how this is going to sound, but it sounds a little bit off. But, and the thing is too, is that if you get sick of having to, you know, start your loop from the very beginning, it's very easy just to, you know, yeah, bring the marker up a little bit. Now it's starting in the middle. So that doesn't sound too bad. Bring the marker back. And I think this will probably sound pretty good right here. Extend this out. You know what? I actually think this pitch is up too fast here. Pretty good. Now another thing I'm going to take a look at is see if there's, I don't know if I set the velocity on it, but I'm just going to bring all the velocities down. No, I didn't set the velocities. So what you can do is you can set the velocities, and you can also set filters and whatnot. So I'll go into that a little bit later on, but essentially the lower the velocity, let's say the filter cuts down to there's less highs, and you can do it with the volume also, and I think you can even do it with the pitch. And but I'm going to leave it out as right now. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. I think this needs to be here. Maybe. There you go. So that sounds decent. You know, again, it's not complex here, but you know, if we want to take another step, we can add arpeggiators to it. I don't know. So, you know, that sounds pretty good too. You know, turn that arpeggiator off. You know, I have a chord on it. This is all just like defaults. I have a rack that I have with, you know, certain effects that I like to put onto certain instruments. I highly recommend setting up instrument racks and audio effects racks with everything that you need in it. I'll show you how to do that later on in some of the macros that I use. I don't use too many macros, but I definitely have racks set up to help start me off pretty quick. And I'll show those too. But there's a chord now. I'm pitching it at 12. Doesn't sound too good. It's too low for it to go down 12. But little things. It doesn't sound great, but you know, that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. And I will just take one more second and try to see if I can get a high. Get a high in there somewhere. And you know what? I kind of think that a longer note on top of all this would sound pretty good. So I'm going to extend this out. I'm not saying here this is a great instrument or anything. This is purely to show you, the capabilities. I'm not actually a big fan of this right here. I think the best way to get this sound mixed in with the other ones would be to render out what we have here, and then delete that, render out what we have here into another audio track, and then we'll layer those on top of each other, and take some time to make them sound a little bit better, because right now they're not sitting on top of each other too well. But the last thing I'm going to do here is render this out to an audio track. I like how this sounds. I'm not going to play with it too much more. I'm going to render it out so I have a solid sample of it, and that way I can either edit now my lead and do some changes to it. And I still have that sample backed up somewhere. So yeah, so I'm going to make a new audio track, which is just Control-T. I'm not familiar with the Mac hotkeys, so you have to forgive me, but I'm going to turn off this track. I'm going to set the ins as its lead ARP, and that's pretty much it. Now it's set to record our ARP. Fuck, I keep saying ARP, or my lead. I'm going to change that right now to lead ARP. So it's recording my lead now. Set this to record. Make sure that my time marker is at the very beginning. Hit record. This is rendering out the audio. And I'll show you what we can do with this very quickly before I stop this video and do the next one. So, so there's the loop. Bring this back. I'm going to turn off my lead. I'm going to use it sample now. So sounds identical, right? Yeah, it sounds identical. Like it quite a bit. Now I'll show you what you can do here. I find you have a little bit more control with editing samples and waves, especially with Simpler and Sampler and what you can do with them there. I don't think you should stay in your Midis too much. I definitely think you should start rendering, or I think as a general rule, rendering things out to an audio track is safer. And at least for me, that's how I've been working, and that's why I've been getting better and the better sounds. So yeah, so quickly before I finish this up, I'll show you what we can do with the auto track. I'm just going to slice it up again here, because you wouldn't be able to do what I'm about to do with a MIDI track unless actually I'm not even sure, unless you take a lot of time and make the notes sound the same way. But you'll see what I mean in a second. Close that. Just going to put this full screen. There's a little bit of pop in there again. Just I'm not going to be fixing this too much. I'll do that another point. It's not too hard to fix the popping. It's just going into the sample, making sure it's hitting at the midpoint of the frequency. I guess you can say it's probably hitting above or below. But anyways, that's regardless. You can hear. Sounds. Oops. Now I'm just showing quickly. Now I'm just going to stick this on like a grid, repeating it. So 1.3, 2.3, 3.3, 4.3. I find that having beats repeat in certain areas keep the flow of it, the melody going a little bit stronger. So that's, you know, a little bit different. I really like the beginning there a little bit, and I got my drums just a little bit. So yeah, and the last thing I'll do is I'll duplicate, or not duplicate, I'll make a new audio track. I'm just going to select any bit. I'm going to control, drag it down, so it's essentially duplicating the audio track here. And I'm going to reverse this whole sample. And what I do a lot now too is keep this whole sample here, bring the length of it down, and sort of fit this reverse sample in somewhere that looks like it's going to sweep into something that's already sweeping up. So this will be, you know, the reverse sweep. So right here, for instance, you see it's going up. Now I don't know necessarily if we can make the sweep into that properly, but I'm definitely going to take a look. And you know, other things you can do too is pitch it up or pitch it down, and you know, filter sweeps too. But I'll just, this might sound good, it might not. So. You know, if that doesn't sound good, then you can just take this marker. And the cool thing is that all you're looking for is that it's hitting here, right? So you can keep changing the marker, and it doesn't matter how far it extends out. See, I like that how it kind of rolls right there. There you go. That's exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, that sounds pretty damn good right there. It's hitting just before the 2. I'm just going to zoom out, and you know, I'm not going to put too many variations into it. Duplicate it there. So very cool, very simple. Again, still nothing too complex here, but you can see, you know, getting a decent beat out of there from something not too complex. It can take too much time, you know, and we got some samples that we can play around with now too, and we haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to doing envelopes. You know, changing our initial sound around and playing with it a little bit more. So I'm going to stop it there. I think I can do one more right now, and yeah, so I'll be back in just a moment.